after 4, so we can go ahead and get started.
Okay, I'll mute.
I will mute everyone. Oops, no, I unmuted everyone. Hold on. Oh yeah, you're all muted. Okay. It's crazy how different everything is on the computer versus the iPad. Things look different. I'm trying to figure out where everything is. So, all right, you guys are all set. So go ahead and find that position you'd like to start class in. You all know by now what it is that you like, what it is that you need. So start to transition into that space now. Go ahead and close the eyes. Take that deep breath. Exhale as you let it go. Start to slow it down a little bit. Start to transition into the present moment. Letting go of the day, the week that was behind you, letting go of what's ahead of you. Just in starting to really enjoy this moment right here. I always like to encourage using all of your senses as you start to tune in. So notice what it is you're feeling. Notice the mat beneath you, maybe a coolness if you're in the air conditioning, maybe you notice the feeling of your clothes on your skin. Just start to really notice what you're feeling. Start to notice what you're hearing if you're playing any kind of music. If there's any kinds of noise in your house, or maybe it's just the sound of my voice, starting to tune into all of those things. Your eyes are closed now, but once you open your eyes, you'll start to notice what you're seeing. And all of these senses really help ground us right here in this moment. So start to really settle in. Take a moment now to set an intention for your practice. So thinking of that word or that phrase, that mantra, whatever it is that you're going to focus on throughout this practice. Something you're creating, peace, patience, balance, forgiveness, healing, or something that you're letting go of. Let's all just take 1 or 2 more breaths here. And on your next full inhale, start to find that big full body stretch. So if you weren't laying on your mat already, go ahead and lie back. If you are lying back, straighten the legs, reach the arms over your head, and just start to find that nice big stretch, extending the fingertips behind you, rolling the wrists and the ankles, maybe a little side to side movement if that feels good. And then on the next inhale, start to draw the knees in towards you, wrapping your arms around your shins as you give yourself a little hug. You can rock side to side. You can make circles with the knees. You can also stay still if that feels better. So it's really up to you to kind of start to move in whatever way it is that your body needs. And then we're going to go ahead and put our feet on the mat. So your knees are bent, your feet are on the mat. Extend the right leg up towards the sky, bringing your arms or your hands behind that right leg. Start to draw the right leg towards you. You can kind of bend and straighten that leg. You can roll out the ankle. Maybe massage the back of the leg a little bit, just sort of getting that leg nice and warmed up. And then we're going to put a deep bend in that right knee. So the right knee is starting to bend, almost like you're trying to touch the right knee to the mat. It's kind of bending to the side of you. It's not going to touch the mat, and that's okay, but that's the direction that it's working in. The right foot is flexed. You can keep both hands behind that right thigh and sort of draw it down towards you, or maybe you take your right hand to the bottom of your foot and just kind of draw that knee closer to the mat. If it feels good to straighten the left leg, you can do that, or you can keep it straight, whichever position feels good on that left side. And just take about 2 or 3 more breaths. We're getting a nice stretch in the left side of the body, kind of like a little, the right side, a little massage inside the stomach and the organs and all that stuff that's in there. And then we're going to take the right foot, place it on the left knee, keeping that knee bent. And then lifting that left leg up off the mat, finding your reclined pigeon. So instead of pigeon pose on our back, start to draw the left knee towards you, flexing the feet. You always have the option here to move a little bit if it feels good to rock from side to side, or bend and straighten that left leg, or just stay straight. Again, see what feels good for you and do that. And then we're going to slowly take that right foot, place it back down on the mat. You can keep that bend in the right knee as you start to draw the left knee towards the side of the body, towards the mat. So we're bending that left leg. Hands are either behind the left thigh, drawing almost like you're trying to bring your left knee towards your left shoulder. Or you can bring the left hand to the bottom of the foot if that's accessible. Just draw it down a little bit more. That right leg can be bent or straight, whichever feels more comfortable. Maybe you rock from side to side a little bit. And then let's go ahead and extend that left leg up towards the sky. I don't think we did that yet. So we're going to just sort of massage the back of the leg, bend and straighten the left knee, roll out the ankle. You can kind of draw the leg towards you using your hands to get that deeper stretch. And then we'll find our pigeon pose, our reclined pigeon, by bringing the left foot to the right knee, lifting that right leg up off the mat, interlacing the hands behind the right thigh. Maybe a gentle side to side rock. Maybe you bend and straighten the right leg. And then gently releasing the left foot from the knee, hugging both knees in towards you, hands come behind the thighs as you start to rock yourself up to a seated position. So taking a couple rocks if that feels comfortable, or just taking one big rock, bringing yourself all the way up to a seat. So once you arrive, take a moment to settle in, maybe rock it out from side to side a little bit, relax the shoulders, sit up nice and tall. We're just going to take a couple little cleansing breaths right here. We're going to take your right thumb, bring it to your right nostril. So you're going to kind of close off the right side, and you're going to inhale through the left nostril and exhale through the left nostril as long as you can. We're going to do that 3 times on the left side. Then you're going to take the right ring finger, bring it to the left nostril, and do the same thing on the right side. So we're taking 3 really long, full, deep breaths through the left side of the body. And then we're switching over to the right side. So whenever you're ready, you can close your eyes, you can begin those breaths. Challenge yourself to see how long and slow and full you can make each breath. Inhaling as much as you can, and then exhaling, letting it go. Taking those 3 breaths on the left side. And once you've completed your 3 on the left side, that right ring finger comes to the left nostril, and you'll take your 3 breaths on the right side. Long, slow, full breaths. Taking as much time as you need to complete these breaths so you don't have to rush at all. Whenever you're done, you can slowly bring that right hand back to your lap, sit up nice and tall. And we're just going to start to reach the arms up overhead, taking a breath in as you reach the arms up. As you exhale, the left fingertips are going to come to the mat. That right hand is going to reach to the side. So we're getting a nice long stretch on the right side of the body. Take your gaze under that right arm, pressing down through the hip. Getting as long as you can on the right side of the body. And then on the next inhale, lift it all the way back up. As you exhale, take it over to the opposite side. Right hand comes down, left fingertips reach to the right side. Press that left shoulder open. So we're always trying to lift our heart and our chest up. So rather than leaning forward here, think about kind of shining your heart, shining your chest up towards the sky, looking towards the sky. And then again, as you inhale, lift it up. And as you exhale, you can bring your hands back to your lap, back to your knees. And we're just going to take a little twist to the right. So the right hand is going to come behind you. You can place it on the mat or the ground behind you. The left hand is going to come to the right knee. Take a breath in as you sit up. As you exhale, start to twist to the right. So use that hand pressing into the knee to get a little deeper twist than you would otherwise. And then on the next inhale, start to come back through center over to the other side. The left hand can come behind you. The right hand comes to the left knee. Take a deep breath in as you sit up nice and tall. And then as you exhale, twist. And then again, slowly coming back through center, kind of unraveling all of that. And let's make our way into our tabletop position. So coming onto your hands and your knees, turning over, finding that cat and cow pose or that cat and cow position. So your knees are below your hips, your wrists are below your shoulders. That back is nice and flat. And then when you're ready, take a breath in, release the stomach down, take the gaze up. As you exhale, round the back, press the ground away from you. And then go ahead and just start to move that spine a little bit with the breath. Inhale and taking the gaze up. Exhale, press the ground away from you, round the back. And moving here as much as you like. You can kind of almost make it circular by pressing the hips back and lifting up and then pressing it down. You can rock from side to side with the hips. The head can move. It's your warm up, so do what feels good for you. And then once you complete the round that you're on, let's make our way right into our downward facing dog by tucking the toes, straightening the legs, sending the hips up and back. Start to settle in here, continuing that movement. So whatever feels good for you, do that. Sometimes it's moving the feet a little bit, moving the hips, moving the head. On the next inhale, let's roll it out into a plank position, drawing the shoulders over the wrists, tucking the tailbone under, drawing the belly button up towards the spine. So kind of think about zipping everything up nice and tight. We're going to bring our knees down to the mat, untuck your toes, and then almost like you're doing a reverse push-up, start to lower yourself all the way down onto the mat. On the next inhale, we're going to find a baby cobra. So lifting the chest up just a little bit. Hands can lift off the mat. You can wiggle your fingertips. And then the hands are going to press back into the mat. We're going to find a child's pose for just a breath. So the hips are coming up and back, resting on the heels or near the heels as you settle into that child's pose just for one breath. And then right back to your downward facing dog. The toes tuck, the legs straighten, the hips send up and back. And then we're going to take that little flow one more time. So on the next inhale, again, roll it out into your plank position. Tuck the tailbone, tighten up that core. And then lowering the knees down, untucking the toes, slowly lowering yourself all the way to the mat, finding that reverse push-up. And then you have the choice to take that same baby cobra we took before, or maybe you press your hands into the mat and start to lift up a little bit higher, being gentle with the spine as always. And then again, lowering yourself down right back into that child's pose. You can press the hands into the mat, find your child's pose. This time we're going to take about 3 or 4 breaths here. So your toes can be together, your knees are a little bit apart. Your hands can be wherever it feels best, either at the top of your mat, stacked on top of each other with your head resting on them, or at the sides of your body, kind of next to your toes. So go ahead and see which variation feels best for your hands, or maybe you already know, and you can go right there. Let your eyes close, and then take those 2 or 3 more breaths, thinking about that intention that you set. And then we're again starting to make our way back into our downward facing dog. So if your hands aren't at the top of your mat already, you can start to walk them back to the top of the mat, tuck the toes, straighten the legs, send those hips up and back as you settle back into your downward facing dog. This time, take your gaze towards your hands. So looking at the top of your mat, you're going to start to walk your feet to your hands, setting up for a forward fold. Your feet can be about hips width distance apart, so a little wider than, or I'm sorry, just not together, so hips width. And then taking any forward fold that feels good for you, holding on to the elbows, holding on to the back of the head, holding on to the backs of the legs, moving from side to side a little bit if that feels good. Really focus on just letting go, letting that upper body kind of become heavy, letting gravity start to draw the body down. So you're not resisting, really. That's all we're doing here, is we're just trying to let go and let that upper body sort of release in its own time. You can bend the knees as much as you need. That can help get a little deeper of a stretch. And then on the next inhale, we're going to slowly start to lift all the way up. So putting a little bend in your knees as you inhale, begin to roll the spine all the way up, coming to standing. Maybe a little back bend if that feels comfortable. And then bringing your hands to heart center. On the next inhale, we're going to reach the arms back up overhead. As you exhale, big swan dive down, forward fold. Bringing your hands to your shins as you inhale, halfway lift. So you're flattening your back. As you exhale, fold even deeper, forward fold. And then on the next inhale, lift it all the way back up, arms reach overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart center. One more time, just like that. Inhale as you lift the arms up. Exhale, dive it down, forward fold. Inhale, bring your hands to your shins, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift it all the way up, little back bend. Exhale, hands to heart center, beautiful. You can go ahead and bring your arms to the sides of your body. We're just gonna let the chin release forward so that you're looking down at the mat towards your toes. Lengthening through the back of the neck. And then slowly just allowing your head to start to roll all the way around, taking a couple full circles with the neck, if that feels comfortable. You always have the option, just kind of go side to side or back and forth if that feels more comfortable. You can also take your hands to the neck and the shoulders, sort of massage it out a little bit if that feels good. Just trying to work out any tightness or stiffness that's in the neck and the upper back. Going back in the opposite direction if you haven't already. And then slowly starting to lift the head all the way back up through center. Let's take a breath in and roll the shoulders forwards and up. And then as you exhale, let the shoulders release down the back. 2 more times, just like that. Inhale, draw the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, let them roll down the spine. And again, with your breath, inhale as you lift it up. Exhale as you release it back. We're going to take our arms, finding cactus arms. So kind of goalposts, bending the elbows, reaching the arms out to either side of the body. Bring your hands together, bring your elbows together right in front of your face. The right arm is going to come on top of the left arm. You're going to take a breath in as you lift the arms up. As you exhale, you're going to fold it forward. If this doesn't feel comfortable for the arms, give yourself that little hug. I know we've done that in here before, where you just bring your hands to your shoulders. Same exact stretch, just a little different way of getting into it. We're working on opening up through the shoulder blades. As you lean forward, maybe you rock a little bit more from side to side. Maybe you bend those knees. And then slowly releasing your arms one vertebrae at a time. Let's lift it all the way back up. Reach the arms overhead. And we're going to come right back to those cactus arms, bending the elbows at either side of you. Bring your hands and your elbows together. This time the left arm comes on top of the right. So you can either stay right there or give yourself that little hug by taking opposite shoulders. Take a breath in as you lift the arms up. As you exhale, dive it down, forward fold. And releasing the arms, inhale as you lift it all the way back up, peeling the spine up, take that little back bend, and then bring your hands to heart center. This time we're going to take the hands behind the body, interlace your hands behind the spine, press the palms together, and then start to press the hands away from the body. Take a deep breath in as you puff up the chest, look up towards the sky. Again, we're going to fold it forward one last time. Bending the knees as much as you need, pressing the hands up towards the ceiling, pressing the palms together. Top of the head is reaching down towards the mat. And then as you exhale, release the arms down to the mat in front of you. You can take a little halfway lift if that feels good, bringing your hands to your shins, kind of stretching out the back. As you exhale, fold. We're going to bring our hands to the mat. And we're gonna start to step the left foot all the way to the back of the mat, coming into a low lunge. So your hands are down, that right foot is down. We're gonna keep our left hand on the mat. As you exhale, your right arm is gonna lift up, setting up for a little twist here. So looking up towards that right hand, rolling that right shoulder open and back as you look up towards the sky. And then from here, we're gonna lower down that left knee. Bring the left knee to the mat, untuck the left toes. You can bring the right hand down to the mat as well. And then we're just gonna start to kind of wiggle that right foot out to the outer edge of your mat. So the right foot is all the way on the side of your mat, kind of off-centered a little bit. You're gonna take your right hand and start to press it into that right knee. So you're pressing the right knee away from you. You can either be looking at that right knee, maybe you're looking at your right shoulder, maybe you get a little deeper twist and you're looking back behind you towards that left foot. You're on the outer edge of that right foot, so rather than the foot being flat on the mat, you can kind of roll to the outer edge of the right foot a little bit. The idea is that we're pressing the left hip down towards the mat, getting a nice stretch in that left hip, and also a little bit of a twist as you start to look towards the right shoulder. Good. And then we're gonna slowly come back through center with that foot, so you can kind of unravel that twist. Bring the right hand back to the mat, start to wiggle the right foot back to the center of the mat as we start to set up for a little Anjaneyasana flow. So as you exhale, straighten that right leg, press the hips back, folding over that right leg. As you inhale, press the hips forward, start to lift up through the upper body. And go ahead and do that 2 or 3 more times with your breath. Exhale, send the hips back, fold over that right leg. Inhale, lift and lengthen through the upper body. Exhale as you send it back. The next time you come forward, go ahead and settle into your Anjaneyasana. The hips press down, the upper body starts to lift up. Your hands can come to your knee, or they can reach up towards the sky. Relax the shoulders, take the gaze towards the hands, and breathe here. So we're stretching to open up the front of the body to allow you to take a really nice big breath. So go ahead and enjoy that big breath, smile a little bit here. And then slowly start to bring the hands back to frame out that front foot. We're gonna tuck the left toes as you straighten the left leg, and then we'll step it back forward to our forward fold. So the left foot steps up to meet the right. You can bring your hands to your shins for a little halfway lift, flat back. Exhale as you fold. And then on the next inhale, lift it all the way back up, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Beautiful. Do that same little sequence on the other side. So on the next inhale, the arms lift up. As you exhale, bring the hands behind the body, interlacing them just like we did before, right behind the tailbone. This time with the opposite thumb on top. So whichever one feels a little more awkward, bring that one to the top. Take a breath in as you press the hands away from you, puff up the heart, puff up the chest, and on the exhale, we'll fold it forward. Top of the head is reaching down towards the mat. Palms are pressing together. There's still a little bend in your knees if that feels good. And then slowly bringing the hands down to the mat. You can take that little halfway lift if it feels good, lengthening through the spine on an inhale. On the exhale, hands come to the mat, and we're gonna step it back to that low lunge. So the right foot is now stepping back to the back of your mat. Your right hand is grounding down. The left arm is gonna lift up, reaching the left fingertips up towards the sky. So we're finding a twist here. And then we're going to slowly lower down that right knee, untuck the toes, start to bring the left hand to the left knee as you wiggle the left foot to the outer edge of your mat, rolling to the outer edge of the left foot. You start to press the left knee away from you, creating that little twist. So looking towards the knee, the shoulder, or maybe the foot behind you. That right thigh is pressing down towards the mat. And then slowly as you unravel that, you can start to wiggle the left foot back to the center of your mat. As you exhale, press the hips back, straighten that left leg and fold. And go ahead and take that little flow with your breath. As you inhale, you come forward, warming up those hips each time you move. As you exhale, send it back. Out 2 more times, just like that. Inhale, press it down and lift it up. Exhale, send it back. Inhale, lifts and lengthens. Exhale, sends it back. The next time you come forward, find your Anjaneyasana, your crescent lunge, by pressing those hips down and then lifting the upper body up. Take the gaze towards the fingertips. And then slowly bringing your hands back to frame out that left foot. Tuck the right toes, straighten that back leg. And then we're going to step it back up to our forward fold. If one giant step is tough, you can take a couple little steps. That's fine. Just get your way back to that forward fold. Bring your hands to your shins. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale as you fold. And then on the next inhale, lift it all the way back up. Reach the arms overhead. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Good. From here, we're going to come into our first warrior. So we're going to step the left foot all the way to the back of the mat, setting up for your warrior 1. That left foot is at a 45-degree angle. Your hips are facing the top of your mat. As you inhale, lift your arms up. As you exhale, bend that right knee. Press down through the outer edge of the left foot. So you're really pressing down through the left side of the left foot as you bend into that right knee. The left hip is pressing forward so that both hips are kind of squared. Rather than the right hip being in front, try to shift so that both hips are lined up. And then we're going to transition right into our warrior 2 from here. So from here, the right arm is going to come forward, the left arm comes back. That left heel starts to turn in a little bit so that it's now parallel to the back of the mat, and your hips are now facing the left side of your mat. Relax your shoulders as you take your gaze to the front right middle finger, continuing to bend into that right knee and lengthen through the arms. Feel that strength in your arms, that energy out the fingertips. As we come into a peaceful warrior, the left hand is going to softly rest on the back of the leg. The right palm flips up towards the sky. Reach the right hand forward and then lift that right arm up and overhead so that you're reaching behind you, still bending into that right knee as you look up towards the sky. On the next inhale, slowly start to come back to your warrior 2. We're going to straighten that right leg. We're going to do the same thing in the opposite direction. So you're going to turn your right toes so that they're facing the side of your mat. And then we're just going to kind of shift that left foot so that it's the back of your mat. So we're taking our warrior 1 to the back of your mat now. So you can go ahead and reach your arms up towards the sky. Take a breath in. As you exhale, bend into that left knee, pressing down through the outer edge of that right foot, pressing the right hip forward. Left hip dials back a little bit as you take your gaze up towards the hands. Shoulders are relaxed. Bend a little deeper and breathe. So much going on in one pose. And then we'll start to open it up into our warrior 2. So left arm reaches forward, right arm reaches back. Those hips are going to start to turn to the left side of your mat. That right foot is parallel to the back. Take a breath. Settle in as the shoulders relax, the arms lengthen. Your arms are probably getting a little tired at this point. That's a good thing. Let's bring that right hand to the back of the right thigh. Flip the left palm. Left fingertips reach forward. And then up and overhead as you settle into your peaceful warrior on the left side. Continuing to bend into that left knee. Relaxing through the left shoulder. And slowly back to your warrior 2. Straighten that left leg. Turn the left toes to face the same direction as the right. You can bring your hands to your hips and just sort of step your feet back together, coming back to standing. You can turn so that you're facing the top of your mat again, or whatever way your computer screen is facing. So from here, let's take a moment to kind of ground down a little bit, to settle down. So we're going to come into a Tadasana by closing your eyes. Starting with your feet, you can kind of just rock from foot to foot, forwards and backwards, or maybe picking all your toes up and then one at a time placing them back down on your mat. Your feet are about hips width distance apart. Your legs are strong, but not stiff. So when we're in our mountain pose, we're exuding strength, but we're not stiff, we're flexible. So maybe you're even swaying a little bit from side to side or front and back. Your tailbone is tucking under, so maybe make a little shift there. That allows you to lengthen the spine a little bit more. So as you tuck that tailbone, notice that you can stand up a little taller. Let's take a breath in and draw the shoulders up towards the ears and then let them release down the back. Feel yourself getting a little taller again as you press those shoulders down and back. The arms are resting softly at the sides of your body. Start to bring your chin up so that it's parallel to the ground. We're not leaning forward at all. We're really long, really tall, really straight, really strong. Then go ahead and take a nice deep breath, maybe big inhale into the nose, and if it feels good, you can exhale it out the mouth. Big, deep cleansing breath in. One more if that felt good. Inhale, filling up the stomach as you inhale. And then as you exhale, letting it all go. You can slowly start to open your eyes, feeling a little more balanced, hopefully a little more grounded than when we first entered our mountain pose. And now it's perfect time for a balancing pose. So let's come into our tree pose. If you like to move towards a wall or grab a chair to hold on to, go ahead and do that. We're going to find a nice firm foundation with our left foot. The right toes are going to come to the left inner ankle. Your hands are at heart center. You can stay right here. You are in your tree pose. You're balancing on that right toe and the left foot. If you want to come a little higher, the right foot's going to start to walk its way up the leg, either on the inner shin or the inner thigh. Hands can stay at heart center, or you can find any variation of your tree that you like. Maybe that's extending your arms out to either side of you. Maybe it's opening them up wide towards the sky or keeping that prayer overhead. Tree is fun because you get to kind of play around with it and see what feels most fun or most realistic for you. So go ahead and take about 3 or 4 more breaths in your tree pose. See if you can focus on something that's not moving, something small, a little bit out in front of you, maybe a light switch or a picture on the wall or a piece of your plant, a leaf or something like that, something that you can focus on that'll help kind of keep you grounded. And then when we're ready, we'll slowly start to let that right foot slide back down onto the mat. You can shake out the standing leg a little bit. You can take a little forward fold if that feels good. And then slowly lifting it all the way back up. We'll set up for the other side. So starting with a nice firm foundation on the right foot. The left foot comes into your right inner ankle. Your hands come to heart center. And then same options. You stay right here if this feels good. Maybe this side feels a little more wobbly. Maybe today feels a little more wobbly. Or if you're going for it, you can start to slide that left foot up the leg, taking any variation you like with your hands. Taking about 3 more breaths, just like that. And then whenever you're ready, that left leg can slowly start to slide back down onto the mat. You can take that little forward fold if that feels good, and then slowly lift it back up. Coming back to the top of your mat if you weren't there already. Take a nice deep breath in, lifting the arms up overhead. As you exhale, swan dive it down, big forward fold. Inhale for space as you lengthen through the back of the body. As you exhale, bring your hands to the mat. Let's step it back to our downward facing dog. So go ahead and walk the feet to the back of your mat, finding your downward facing dog. And taking about 3 breaths here. So you can take your gaze towards your thighs or your shins as you start to settle in. Maybe you find stillness, or maybe you continue to move a little bit like we were doing in the beginning, whichever feels most comfortable for you. And then we're going to slowly bring our knees down onto the mat, coming back to our tabletop position. So the knees come down, the toes can untuck, find that nice flat back. Even move through another round of cat and cow if that feels good. Inhaling, lifting the chest up. Exhale, rounding the back, or maybe just a little movement in the hips if that feels good. And then as you come back through center, let's extend the right leg long. Point the toes behind you. Take a breath in, draw the right knee towards the nose, rounding the back. Exhale, extend it long. 2 more times, just like that. Inhale, draw the knee to the nose. Exhale, extend it long. 1 more time. Inhale, knee to nose. Exhale, extend it long. Pause here this time, and let's start to add on for our balance. So right leg is lifted. Try to lift up the left arm, opposite leg, reaching in opposite direction. So you're reaching the left fingertips in front of you, the right toes behind you. If you want to add on even more, you're going to bend the right knee, and you're going to start to reach the left arm back. You don't have to grab the foot. You can just be reaching for it. You're getting a nice back bend just like that. If you have the foot, grab the top of the foot, press it into your hand, and bring yourself into a little deeper back bend. You can also do this with a belt or strap or a rope if you have. You can wrap it around the foot and hold on to it if you don't have the foot and you're trying to get that deeper back bend. Go ahead and re-extend your arm and leg. Bring both back down to the mat. You can kind of shake your hips out from side to side a little bit. Let that go. And then we'll set up for the same thing on the other side by lifting the left leg, point the toes behind you. Take a breath in. Draw the left knee to the nose, round the back, give that knee a kiss. Exhale, extend it long. 2 more times. Inhale, draw your knee to your nose. Exhale, extend it long. Inhale, knee to nose. Exhale, extend it long. Pausing here after you take those 3. I might have miscounted, so go ahead and do 1 more if you need to be even. Left leg extends. Right arm is going to extend, so opposite arm, opposite leg in opposite directions. Draw that belly button up towards the spine again, so that core is what helps stabilize us. And then that left leg is going to bend. The toes are pointing either towards the sky or maybe even further towards you. And then go ahead and reach the right arm back for the left foot. Maybe you're completely different on this side. Maybe you're a little more open, maybe it's a little tighter. That's okay. Take a breath in. Exhale as you let it go, extend the arm and leg, and bring both back down to the mat. Again, you can kind of rock your hips from side to side, shake it out a little bit. We're gonna tuck our toes. So your tops of your toes are on the mat, and you're gonna sit back on your heels. And this can be a really deep stretch for the bottoms of our feet. So you have the option to either keep your hands on the mat a little bit, kind of take some of that pressure off your toes, or if it's accessible, you're going to start to lift up, straighten the back, and bring your hands to heart center. Maybe you even do 1 of each. Maybe you keep 1 hand on the mat and sort of play around with bringing 1 hand to heart center. To see what feels like an option for you. We're going to take about 3 or 4 more breaths here. So your eyes can close. Breathing into the backs of the feet. Imagine all those little tiny muscles in your feet softening, relaxing, letting go. And if it feels not that comfortable, know that it's really good for your feet. And then slowly starting to bring your hands back down to the mat. You can untuck the toes, start to tap the tops of your feet on the mat a little bit, rock your heels from side to side, kind of letting all that go. And then we're going to come into a back bend or camel pose. So you're going to lift up, staying on your knees, but kind of lift up on your knees. Bring your hands to where your back pockets are or would be. We're going to take a deep breath in, kind of puff up the chest. As you exhale, you're going to start to release the upper body back, keeping the hips right where they are. I always like to say, if you were doing this against a wall, imagine that your hips would still be touching the wall and only the upper body would be peeling away from the wall. So if you press the lower body down, then it's getting into your thighs. So we want to keep it all up in the back for our back bend. We're supporting the back, take the gaze up. And then we're going to slowly lower ourselves back down onto our knees. So kneeling all the way back down. We're going to do that 1 more time, but just take a breath. That pose can be a little intense. Sometimes it can make you feel weird, dizzy, or nauseous. So if you are, be gentle with yourself, take a break. Then we're going to come back up and do it 1 more time. So go ahead and lift it up again. Hands come to that lower back. Take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, start to lean it back. You can stay right here like we did the first time. Or if you want to add on a little bit, you can bring your left arm behind you, maybe to that left heel. Maybe you just do one hand, or maybe you bring the right hand to the heel. This is a super deep back bend. So see where you're at. Maybe you're just playing around with kind of bringing one arm behind you. Maybe none of that sounds like a good idea right now, and you're going to keep that supported back bend with your hands there. So doing whatever variation feels good for you. And then we're all going to slowly make our way back into a child's pose. So lifting it up gently, lowering yourself down, toes together, knees apart, and then slowly walking the hands out in front of you. For your child's pose, it should feel really good after bending backwards, letting that spine bend forward. Should be a nice counter pose. So go ahead and take about 3 or 4 breaths in your child's pose. And then slowly starting to lift yourself back up into a tabletop position. So coming back to that tabletop that we started in, the hands are down on the mat, the knees are down on the mat, and we're just going to come into our pigeon right from here. So we're going to bring that right knee behind the right shoulder. As you start to walk the left leg out behind you, coming into that pigeon pose, that right foot is flexed. You can kind of rock from side to side a little bit on your hips as you start to settle in. Take a breath in as you open up through the front of the body by lifting up a little bit more. And then as you exhale, start to walk it down. And you're going to take it as deep as it feels comfortable. You can stay on your elbows if that feels good. You can kind of bend your elbows, resting your chin in your hands. You can find a block or a book or something to rest your head on, or maybe stacking your fists. And then just go ahead and start to see what you can let go of here. It's a tight pose. We're really getting into those hips, so it can bring up a lot of feelings, a lot of thoughts, sometimes anger, frustration, because it doesn't feel that good for everyone or most people. So see what it is you can let go of. If it's a muscle that you're tensing, maybe you can relax that right thigh. Maybe you can relax your shoulders. Or maybe it's a thought that you can let go of, that you notice, you know what, this thought isn't doing me any good. You can kind of let it float on by without acknowledging it or giving it any attention. And then we're going to slowly start to lift the upper body back up by walking the hands back towards you. And you can go ahead and slide that right knee back as we come right back into our tabletop position. So the right knee slides back to meet the left. And then we're just going to go ahead and take it right over to the other side. So the left knee is going to start to come behind the left wrist. That right leg starts to walk behind you, flexing through that left foot, doing all those little movements that help you settle in here. So whether that means rocking side to side, sometimes I like to lift up and lower a few times, sort of warming up the hips before I eventually settle all the way down. When you're ready, go ahead and lower that upper body. Relaxing through the shoulders, relaxing through the neck and the head. That's why we want to find something to rest that on. And then again, take a little scan. Notice on this side what it is that you can let go of. That thought, that muscle, that breath. Maybe you're holding on to your breath and you need to let that go. And then slowly starting to walk the hands back towards the body as you press yourself back up to that tabletop position one last time. And then from your tabletop, we're just going to come to a seated position so you can start to lower yourself all the way down onto your mat with your legs extended long in front of you. Kind of rock from side to side as you start to settle in here, flexing through the bottoms of the feet. And then let's take a deep breath in, lifting up through the arms. As you exhale, start to fold it forward. Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. You can keep a little bend in the knees. Hands can come to the shins or to the big toes and kind of draw the upper body down. And then on the next inhale, slowly starting to lift it all the way back up. Let's find a seated twist by taking the right foot, bringing it to the outside of the left knee. The right hand comes to the ground on the side of you. The left arm lifts up as you inhale. And then as we exhale, we're twisting to the right. Left elbow is hooking onto the outside of the right knee. Take a deep breath in as you sit up really tall. And then as you exhale, see if you can twist a little deeper into that pose, looking over the right shoulder behind you. And again, thinking about relaxing into this pose, relaxing any muscles that you don't need here. So maybe that left thigh can relax a little bit. The shoulders can relax a little bit. And then slowly coming back through center, taking that twist over to the opposite direction, twisting to the left as you kind of unravel a little bit. And again, coming back through center, extend both legs long, tap the backs of the legs on the mat, and then we'll take the left foot to the outside of the right leg, right on the outside of that right knee. Left hand comes behind you. Take a breath in as you lift the right arm up. As you exhale, twist to the left. That right elbow hooks to the outside of the left arm. That right foot is flexed. Take a deep breath in, sit up a little taller. And exhale as you twist a little deeper. And then again, coming back through center, take it over to the other side, unraveling that twist. And back to center. Extend your legs long. We're going to come into one more little core exercise before we finish for the evening. So we're going to sit up nice and tall, find that little L shape with your body. Your hands are going to come behind you. Your fingertips can either face you or face away from you, whichever feels more comfortable. We're coming into an inclined plane, so kind of like a reverse plank position. So sit up nice and tall, puff up the chest, and then as you inhale, you're going to start to press the hips up, point the toes down as you try your best to create a nice straight line with the whole body, really. So the hips are pressing up, the core is engaged. Maybe your head releases back if that feels comfortable on your neck. If it doesn't feel comfortable, you can keep looking down at the front of your body. So see what feels most accessible for about 2 more breaths. Remembering to breathe. And then slowly lowering the hips down to the mat. We're going to bend your knees. Give yourself a hug as you fold forward. So bringing your stomach to your thighs. Kind of rock it out from side to side a little bit. And then slowly coming back up through a seated position. Find a butterfly by bringing the soles of the feet together, interlacing your hands around your toes. Take a breath in as you sit up nice and tall. As you exhale, fold it forward, pressing the elbows into the shins, drawing the chest towards the toes. And then slowly lifting the upper body all the way up, extending the legs long one last time, coming so that your feet are at the top of your mat so that we can start to lower ourselves all the way back down onto our mat. So one vertebrae at a time, begin to make your way all the way down, finding a full body stretch once you get there with the arms reaching overhead. Nice deep inhale, exhale as you let it go. And then since we already did a back bend with our camel, we're going to come right into our inversion. So go ahead and draw your knees in towards you, giving yourself a little hug. Wrap your arms around your shins. You can kind of rock it out from side to side a little bit. And then we're going to start to extend your feet up towards the ceiling. Or if you like to do this against a wall, go ahead and move towards a wall so that you can have those legs resting on the wall in your inversion. Your hands can either be behind your thighs if you're doing it unsupported without the wall, or your hands can be under your hips and you're kind of sitting on your hands, whichever feels more comfortable for you. We're going to take about 5 to 7 breaths here. So go ahead and close the eyes a little bit. Start to let the breath relax a little bit. And then slowly you can start to draw the knees back down and towards the body, giving yourself one last little hug as you wrap the arms around the shins. Another little side to side rock, maybe lifting the head up off the mat. Slowly peeling your head back down. And then let's come into a twist, extending the arms out to either side. Let the knees release to the right. Take a deep breath in as you exhale, soften through the shoulders. So letting that left shoulder start to release down towards the mat, maybe looking up towards the sky, or maybe looking to the left in the opposite direction of your knees. And then on the next inhale, slowly starting to draw the knees back through center and taking it over to the opposite side. The knees come to the left. Take a deep breath in as you exhale, the shoulders soften. The gaze comes to the right. Your eyes can start to close if they're not already. And then again, as you inhale, draw the knees back through center. Take a moment now to notice what it is that you still need. If it's another pose, another stretch, maybe you take a last minute twist or a little fold or anything at all that you're still feeling you need, go ahead and start to do that now. And then beginning to settle into your shavasana. So maybe you're just extending your legs straight from where you are. Maybe there's another shape you prefer. So maybe you sit up or turn onto your side or bend your knees with the feet on the mat. Take a moment now, really intentionally beginning to find that shape. Maybe it's the exact same one you started your practice in. Maybe it's a little different now. Maybe there's something else you need at this point in your practice. If there's anything else that's going to help you feel comfortable, maybe a sip of water or a sweater, do those things now so that you can feel really good as you end your practice in your shavasana, letting your eyes close, letting the body start to melt into your mat a little bit. So completely letting go, completely surrendering, being fully supported by the earth. Just allowing yourself to float here in this space for a few moments before I bring you back out of your shavasana. Slowly starting to deepen your breath. Starting to bring yourself back to your mat as you move your fingers and your toes and your ankles and your wrists. Taking any stretches that feel good depending on where you are. That might mean bending the knees a little bit or straightening the legs. Maybe that's a full body stretch. If you're lying down and it feels comfortable, go ahead and turn over onto your right side with the knees bent and your head resting on your arm in a fetal position. Taking these last few moments here on your mat, just acknowledge your continued dedication to your practice and say thank you to yourself for, again, making your way to your mat this evening. When you're ready, you can slowly start to make your way back up to a seated position, gently pressing your hands into the mat as you begin to lift up. Your eyes can stay closed or you can close them once you arrive, bringing your hands to heart center. I am so grateful for all of you for joining me this evening, for taking care of yourselves, for sending that energy out to us. I hope you have the most beautiful evening, the most beautiful weekend ahead. I'll see you all again next week. Namaste.